Lee Jr. is heading to trial. Last month, he was named in a 43-county federal indictment, and this afternoon, he pleaded not guilty during his arraignment.
That AP on my head, see Terrell to go up fat. All these pussies got no motion.
Lee Jr. is heading to trial. Last month, he was named in a 43-county federal indictment, and this afternoon, he pleaded not guilty during his arraignment. Prosecutors accuse Henley of running a criminal enterprise involving murder, human trafficking, robbery, and extortion. They also say Henley, known as Big U, has ties to the notorious Rollin' 60s neighborhood Crips street gang. His trial is scheduled for May 20th.
All right, so it looks like we've got some Big U updates and news today, right? Big U was indicted on a 43-count indictment that was filed last month in Los Angeles that charged him with a single count of conspiracy to violate the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, along with multiple counts of robbery, extortion, wire fraud, embezzlement, and a few other crimes. Now, Big U, after he was arrested, he was arraigned, and in that arraignment, he pled not guilty to his charges. We watched a news clip at the beginning of this video about that, and so Big U has pretty much been waiting on
nigga plead not guilty. Okay, I get that part, innocent until proven guilty. But sir, ever since you got locked up, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you fat. It's been nothing but stories every goddamn day, bro. Like, it's like my eyes finna pop out my motherfucking head, bro. Can y'all please wait until the motherfucking trial? The trial ain't even started yet. Every day is something new about you fat. Extorting motherfuckers or about him killing somebody. Do your homework. You fat did this. You fat did that. Or you fat or you fat got into a whack 100. Like, bruh. But guess what? Once again, like I said in my last video, I appreciated you fat. You know why? Because I'm making money off of it. So I appreciate it, brother. With your dumb ass. Y'all take notes, bro. Don't be you fat. Nigga, I want to say something too. Like, they named this shit the Operation Drawdown. I'm dead. They named this the Operation Drawdown. Is crazy, bro. Do your homework on that, bro.
And in the meantime, he has been getting ready to go in front of the judge and argue for why he thinks he should get bond. That hearing is supposed to take place today. In fact, by the time this video comes out, it may have already taken place. And if Big U is successful, then he could be released from detention on bond. However,
nigga, they not letting them out, bro. They got human trafficking on them. They got extortion. They got murder. The list goes on, bro. I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all. The list goes on. You fat, bro. You fucked up, man. You should have did right by the people, man. You should have did right by the community, bro. You shouldn't have been out here extorting motherfuckers. You shouldn't have been out here playing Call of Duty. You shouldn't have been out here playing GTA. You're a senior citizen, bro. What the fuck is your problem? What's wrong with you, brother? Like, what made you think this shit was cool? What made you think this shit was okay? And bro, I ain't gonna lie, this shit funny, bro, because when they was investigating him to take this whole thing down, they named this shit the Operation Drawdown. They named this case the Operation Drawdown. I'm dead, bro. Because that's what exactly this was, bro. This whole situation was the drawdown, bro. It's crazy, bro.
prosecutors are expected to argue that Big U will present a threat to the community, the victims, and witnesses if he's allowed to go free. And so that brings us into what we got today. They actually filed a memorandum in support of detention. And so y'all know I have a copy of it right here. You can see that the hearing date is April 22nd at 9:30 in the morning. And they've got Big U listed here as the defendant. Right? It says Eugene Henley Jr., which is Big U's real name, also known as Big U, also known as Unc, also known as Draws, also known as Hannibal, also known as Hannibal Muhammad, also known as Anybody Killer, also known as Dave Austin.
Anybody Killer is crazy work. Mind you, this nigga 70 years old. And that's his nickname. Anybody's killer. That's crazy work. That is crazy work. I don't give a fuck what nobody says. That is diabolical. Listen to your boy.
Dang, bruh. Anybody killer is crazy. Getting
That's
into the
what I'm
document,
saying.
we got the introduction here. It says, for decades, defendant Eugene Henley Jr. has put on a public facade masquerading as a reformed gang member and legitimate businessman whose only ambition was to better his community. But defendant wasn't helping Crenshaw, he was helping himself. In the shadows, defendant was secretly operating as a kingpin of a criminal enterprise that has ruled Los Angeles through violence, fear, and intimidation. Now, he seeks pre-trial release under the guise of his reformed persona, even though his criminal activities have included
crazy
murder,
work.
extortion, robbery, wire fraud, bank fraud, and human trafficking. The court should see through Big U's farce and keep him in custody for the safety of the community. To avoid custody, defendant will no doubt continue his double dealing as he did to celebrities and donors that he duped into believing they were helping young, underprivileged athletes chase their dreams, when in reality, they were unwittingly lining Big U's pockets as he embezzled donation after donation. Even in his short time in custody, he is up to his old tricks, once again trying to use some of these same celebrities.
Yeah, and it's like, brother, like, you up here finessing celebrities. You up here just doing dumb shit. Just doing stupid ass shit. If he got P&B Rock lined up, I wouldn't put it past it. I wouldn't put it past it if he got Pop Smoke lined up. I'm keeping it mean with you. Listen to your boy. All them robberies y'all been hearing about, them home invasions going on throughout LA, bro. It's him. It's you fat. You fat got something to do with that. Keeping it mean with y'all. Listen to your boy. So like I said, I wouldn't put it past it, bro, if he had something to do with P&B Rock getting smoked. Just like he got something to do with Nip getting smoked. Just like he got something to do with Fats getting smoked. Just like he got his son's best friend knocked off.
For his personal gain. He has even suggested that he can manipulate the president of the United States into intervening in the case and dropping the
that's
charges,
crazy
even
work.
as he simultaneously derisively refers to the president as the orange man while in custody. And I think
That's
what they're
crazy
talking
work.
about there is Big U had a phone call while he was in prison, and I guess on that phone call he was talking about he might be able to manipulate Trump into giving him a pardon even if he's convicted. Anyways, it goes on. It says this court should not be fooled by the good deeds the defendant promises to accomplish if only he could close the
Then you on a jail call talking like that. Like the feds ain't listening. Like the feds ain't recording that. Like you slow, bruh. Like for real, brother. Like,
doors behind him. The truth is that
damn.
he will undoubtedly cause exponential harm to the case, to the
like
community.
nigga, how? Like what the how? How do I understand this shit and I'm 21, you're 65, 70? And I know not to be moving reckless like this.
And to others if he were released. Defendant should remain detained for the safety of the community, the victims and witnesses in this case. And then they got in parentheses here, in defendant's own words, if I would have had a problem with any man, the issue would have been resolved and he wouldn't be here or I wouldn't be here. And that's a quote that they got from an intercepted call that Big U had on his wiretapped cell phone on December 31st of 2022, right? And we seen this quote in the original indictment that dropped. Anyways, back to the document. They say that he should remain detained for the safety of the community, the victims and witnesses in this case, and for the hope of some semblance of justice for the families of his victims. Indeed, with seemingly just hours of notice of his impending arrest, Big U has already destroyed valuable evidence, attempted to paint false narratives of him.
Yeah, like that's why I told you that you shouldn't have went on Instagram Live and blah blah blah. Whack 100 set me up and 600 did this and did that. And yeah, and 600 was recording the day that they had broke into my house. The feds had seized all of this and all of that. He was recording outside. He was outside of my house, recording when the feds were there. Yeah, you should never said that. That's where you fucked up at. When you started name dropping, bro, they took that as you making threats to the witnesses. Taking it as you would get them knocked off. Keeping it million with you. That's why it wasn't a good idea to make that video. them motherfuckers in my comments trying to bash me, trying to blame me. No, blame you fat. You fat put himself in this situation. I didn't put you fat in this situation. He did this to himself. Y'all mad because I'm spitting knowledge, spitting facts. Some shit that motherfuckers wouldn't sit up here and tell your dumb ass. Like, come on, bro. I'm just keeping it real. Y'all the ones that's getting locked up for dumb shit, bro.
Criminality in the public and publicly condemned his enemies by name. He cannot be allowed to continue his obstructive path. And I think they're referring to the video he made right before he turned himself in that he posted over on Instagram. It says any supporters that Big U may offer as sureties will not protect the community. They did not save RW, which is Rayshawn Williams, the kid that Big U is accused of killing. They did not save RW, whom defendant murdered and abandoned in the desert. They did not save defendant's countless extortion and embezzlement victims whom Big U terrorized or tricked for years. They did not stop Big U from leaving Los Angeles in the midnight hours before his arrest or hurling thinly veiled threats in the lead up to his surrender. This court should have no trouble finding that Big U represents a danger and a risk of non-appearance, non-compliance with court orders that cannot adequately be mitigated through release conditions. With the utmost respect to
Nigga, keep his ass locked up. Keep that nigga locked up, bro. Seriously. I'm praying that they keep his ass locked up. For real, like, Terrell said it. Yes, I said it. I don't give a fuck. Keep that nigga locked up, bro. He deserves it. Out here moving dumb and reckless, bro. This is a shame, bro. Like, nigga's supposed to be sitting back, laughing, kicking it on the phone with his son about how proud he is for being in the NFL, for making it out, not being out here in the streets. This is a shame. Like, how is your son in the NFL, you in the street shit? Like, how's you fuck with, like, I don't get it, bro. It's just weird to me, bro. I don't care what nobody say. It's weird to me, bro, that this man sitting up here moving like this, bro. This nigga, grandpa, bro.
Pretrial services, pretrial supervision is not enough. Pretrial services is basically the people that are tasked with giving people that have been arrested on federal charges stipulations for the release, right? Like you have to check in with the officer, you have to maybe take drug tests or maybe wear an ankle monitor. Pretrial services is who does all that. So they say with respect to pretrial services, they cannot do enough to ensure that Big U isn't in danger or to ensure that he'll appear in court. It says for the sake of the community, Big U should remain in custody. Then it gets into the statement of facts, and then it's got bullet point A. It says defendant is a dedicated Rolling 60s member and leader of his own violent racketeering enterprise. It says Big U is an avowed and famed member of the Rolling 60s neighborhood Crips. As early as 1992, the Los Angeles Times described Big U as the leader of that gang, and little has changed as defendant has aged.
That's what I'm saying. Like, nigga, how haven't you learned from the first time when they locked your ass up back in the 90s, bro? They let your ass out early. Because you was supposed to do, like, what, 30 years, 40 years? And they let you out, like, in 12 years after that, like 12 years later or some shit like that. And then you get back out and still on the same time and, like, what the fuck? Like, what?
In many interviews, when asked about any gang tattoos, he says, it ain't on you, it's in you. And I can only think of one time that I remember hearing Big U say this, and it was during a DJ Vlad interview.
You know, I'm one of them guys who just here.
Just around.
Put it like this. It ain't on you, sometimes it's in you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You kind of like, you walk a certain life and you live a certain life and you from a certain area. I like to tell dudes I ain't from nowhere, I am there. That's what I am. You know what I mean? Like, it's where it's in your heart.
So it's got that in here. It says, indeed, Big U's gang ties run deep in his blood. Defendant has loudly recounted the terror he installs for years. In various interviews, Big U recounts selling narcotics, taking a percentage of all illegal activity in the neighborhood, leading the quote-unquote body snatchers kidnapping crew.
then you getting on podcasts, interviews, saying all this dumb ass shit, saying all this stupid shit, just for them to sit back and do like this. All right, we got him. Like, it wasn't hard for them to write this shit up. You dumb motherfucker. Like, you slow. For real.
Eventually going to prison, where he claims he immediately paid off the guards and started to take a percentage of drug sales in the facility. Now, after an investigation spanning more than 4 years, the defendant was charged with running the Big U enterprise from at least 2010 until his arrest, which often used the Rollin 60s as muscle in his criminal activities. Specifically, Big U often assisted by Rollin 60s and other members and associates of the Big U enterprise used intimidation, fear, violence, threats of violence, assault, extortion, and murder in the streets for power and profit. Through the media and his non-profit developing options, Big U portrayed himself as a neighborhood savior in drawing.
Hey, did you know you might get a big cash payout if you were in a car accident in the last year? Yep, even if you weren't driving, just click the link.
Drawing in donations and government resources intended to benefit at-risk youth, but which he oftentimes used to fund his lifestyle instead. Despite his life of crime, Big U never wanted to return to jail, so he went to great lengths to avoid law enforcement detection, tamper with witnesses, and otherwise obstruct justice. Then it's got some recent examples of defendants' acts or threats of violence, and the first thing they got listed is the murder of Rayshawn Williams, right? I'm not...
Yeah, bro, like, keep them locked up, bro. Keep them locked up. The mama came out and said that she got a strong feeling that you did this shit, this and that. The list goes on, bro. It's over with. It's OVA. You ain't gonna never see a day in light no more. You ain't gonna never see a restaurant anymore. What the fuck is you talking about? You ain't gonna see none of that shit.
Go over this paragraph right here because it was all in my original video and the original indictment. But basically, this kid was an artist of his. They had a little back and forth over whatever. I don't know what. I've heard different rumors, but they have a back and forth. Big U goes to Las Vegas, basically kills this kid and leaves him in the desert. That is the main point of the whole indictment. The second thing they got is robbery and extortion. And it says throughout the period of interception and before, defendant was captured on audio and video recordings extorting victim one, both through a co-defendant, Sylvester Robinson, and personally. In doing so, defendant and Robinson frequently threatened violence against victim one if he failed to pay their fees. Those threats were not empty when victim one started to ignore Big U's calls demanding extortion payment. Defendant sent multiple armed robbers to victim one's dispensary to rob him and then demanded $10,000 from the victim to prevent future robberies. And we did read about this in the main indictment as well, right? Victim one was going...
Yeah, then you sitting up here pistol whipping motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? You sitting up here demanding $10,000 from motherfuckers. You can't do that. And then you expecting to get released at bond hearing? No. Hell no, bro. Like, no. What the fuck? All that shit, like, against you? Human trafficking, you got what? Extortion, murder, like, the list goes on, bro. So why the fuck would they let you out? And how the fuck are you gonna convince the judge, bro? How?
It says in multiple intercepted calls, defendant and his co-conspirators discussed even more robberies they were committing. Robinson also frequently told victim one about Big U's violence, including that Big U was the only OG still actively committing murders. And
that's something to be proud about. Y'all see what I'm saying? This is what I be talking about in my videos. This is what I said about him. He wants street cred and validation. He wants to be known as a tough guy. Ooh. I'm still the OG out here that's still committing murders and this and that and the third. What the fuck? You proud about that? Like, you happy about that? That's something to be proud. Like, my nigga, it's just weird. I'm the only OG still actively out here committing murders. Y'all don't find that shit weird, bro? Like, he on wiretap saying this shit. He on the phone saying this shit. That's just crazy work to me. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. It's weird. Because he's 70, like, come on, bro.
Something that they call on wiretap. It says, in addition to the constant extortion of victim 1, defendant extorted victim 2 for $30,000 for a party thrown in Big U's honor in December of 2021. This is the guy that owned the club that Big U was throwing a birthday party at. When the victims requested to only pay $20,000, Big U responded with force threatening, "I'll tear this bitch up. It won't be a club here no more." And then sending
Yeah, you can't do shit like that. Like, what the fuck? Talking about some, I'll tear this club up. It won't be there no more. You can't do shit like that. You can't do that. You can't sit up here and make threats and think motherfuckers gonna sit back and be quiet. You can't do that, bro.
Another co-defendant, Mark Martin, and members of the Rolling 60s to confront victim 2 at his business and extort $30,000 from him. It says, while the substantive extortion counts are currently limited to just some of those extortions of victim 1 and victim 2, they are not Big U's only extortions. For example, on October 19, 2021, Big U told victim 1 that he was taking over the extortion of another business owner. Then on November 7, 2022, on an intercepted call after yet another extortion victim stated that Big U had not fully paid the extortion victim for work on Big U's vehicle, Big U directed this Martin guy to call the extortion victim right now and stated that he would go out there and kill that dude. On February 14, 2023, on another
Like, come on, bruh. That just sounds like some shit you would say. Sounds like some shit you would do. Come on, G. All that shit fits your character, bruh. Then you got motherfuckers just coming out of the woodworks with just stories. So yes, this shit is believable. When you got multiple motherfuckers saying the same shit, you extorting, you doing this, you doing that, you killing this, you killing, it's believable, bro. It's believable, I'm sorry.
call. Robinson told Big U that he had told quote-unquote Jew Boy that he owed the Big U Enterprise money and that they would allow a payment plan, but if he did not pay, they were going to shut this mother down. And then it's got bullet point 3, power to direct violence. It says, making him that much more dangerous, Big U holds power over others threatening and committing violence. For example, on November 23rd, 2022, on an intercepted call, Big U said that he can pay 3 people $50 each to beat someone up and describe paying people to quote-unquote mess up a store that was refusing to provide Big U a discount. On April 17, 2023, on another intercepted call.
Some bullying shit. That's what you was on, bro. Some bullying shit, bro.
Big U directed an individual to deliver a message to another marijuana dispensary owner that Big U said of him and that he had uffed with the wrong guy. And it's got C, despite a prior 23-year sentence for armed robbery, Big U stayed armed. It said since at least July 20th, 1992, defendant has been prohibited from even possessing firearms based on his felony convictions.
That's crazy. So 30 years ago, bro, you couldn't even possess that shit. Like, they banned you from possessing this shit. Put it like that. And you still moving around here reckless? Yeah, bro, that's crazy, bro.
Degree robbery with a firearm, conspiracy, and drug trafficking, for which he received a 23-year prison sentence. Upon his release from prison, he nevertheless continued to use firearms, like when he murdered Rayshawn Williams and directed others to use firearms, like when they robbed Victim 1's dispensary. Throughout this investigation, recordings corroborated that Big U consistently was armed. On October 22nd, 2022, Robinson told Victim 1 that Big U and Robinson would be attending an after party at a club that Victim 1 was promoting, and that a pat down is out because Big U would be in attendance, implying that the defendant was armed. Pretty much saying when Big U shows up, he ain't getting patted down. On an intercepted call a month later, Big U told an incarcerated individual that anyone coming at him better come correct because Big U always had 2 blowers, which is firearms. On January 3rd, 2023, on an intercepted call, Big U described to an incarcerated individual that he was tooling up with firearms to travel to a Crips neighborhood because...
And that's crazy, bro. Y'all don't find this shit weird? I'm gonna say this again, bro. And I know this shit's gonna be, I know it's tiring. Fuck this shit, bro. The nigga 65 years old, 70. This nigga 70 years old, bro.
We are the most arrogant, bougie, self-righteous motherfuckers on planet Earth. On April 1st, 2023, on another intercepted call, Big U asked someone to grab Big U's blower, which he left on the ground in a blue sweatshirt in front of a tire. Then it's got D, defendant is not only a physical danger, but a financial danger too. It says Big U's crimes against victims are not confined to only violence. He spent decades creating a facade of a reformed gang member who seeks to build rather than destroy his community. So, disguised, Big U used that persona primarily to take from the very community that he claims to help. Hundreds of thousands of dollars flowed from charitable donors and government programs to Big U's Developing Options bank account. Almost immediately, he siphoned off as much of the money into his own personal bank account as he could. Big U got richer and richer off of his fraud, like his extortions and robberies, owning multiple homes, driving a Mercedes, taking...
See, when you get the flash and shit like that, when you get to popping it like you got it, that's when it becomes a suspicion. You know what I'm saying? That's when it comes like a problem and shit like that. Now they want to go investigate you and shit. Cause it's like, where you get all this goddamn money from? You feel me? I'm just keeping it real. Like, where you get all this goddamn money from, bro?
his trips and shopping for luxuries like a $30,000 necklace. The money taken from donors and taxpayers' pockets will never find their intended benefactors, the at-risk youth and children of Crenshaw. That damage cannot be undone. But Big U's success in deceiving politicians, celebrities, and community activists, as well as the public at large, further militates against his release back into that community as he attempts to fund an expensive defense. So they're saying that because he defrauded people before he got locked up, and now he's got this big case he's gonna have to fight if they let him out, he's probably gonna do it again to try to pay for them expensive attorneys. And then it says defendant is fluent in obstruction. It says all of it may be founded on crimes, but Big U built a charmed life following his 23-year sentence for armed robbery. He does not want to give it up and uses obstruction frequently to avoid that. The destruction of surveillance footage, use of encrypted applications like FaceTime, demands to meet in person to avoid law enforcement intercepting communication, use of multiple phones and cars, orders to not speak to law enforcement, and chastising of any perceived or suspected cooperators are detailed in the charging instruments. A few are also highlighted here. It says, even when the criminal charges were not against Big U personally, Big U instructed a victim's relative that the victim was to go to the lineup, tell him to pick the wrong person to insulate Big U's.
That's crazy, bro. Sitting up there tampering with shit, bro. Like, that's crazy work, bro. That's crazy, bro.
Associate from the charges. A master manipulator, defendant told another associate to influence the media for his lawsuit against law enforcement. He should show both positive and negative parts of his life, wear glasses, and say that he was working with Big U's charity Developing Options, even though he was not. On multiple intercepted calls, Big U talked about beating up or at least breaking a witness's jaw, and while defendant may claim other reasons for feuding with that witness, this court should protect him. I wonder if they're talking about WAC 100 here. If y'all remember, when I read the original indictment on this channel, Big U had threatened to break WAC 100's jaw like 20 separate times on intercepted phone calls. Right here, they're saying that he talked about beating up or at least breaking a witness's jaw. And while Big U may claim other reasons for feuding with that witness, this court should protect him. Remember in the original indictment, they pretty much called WAC 100 Big U's blood counterpart. Interesting stuff. I wonder if this witness that they're talking about is whack. But anyways, it says, after fleeing with his phones in the hours before his scheduled arrest in this case in an attempt to intimidate and dissuade anyone from cooperating with law enforcement or otherwise reporting information about Big U posted publicly on Instagram naming his co-defendants and known opponents, instructing the public not to associate with them and claiming that if they did, they were not black. In an attempt to poison the jury pool, defendant posted on Instagram claiming racial profiling and blaming his co-defendant.
Bro, I'm so over with this situation, bro. Like, this whole time, you fat, this and that, what he done did. Bro, like I said, wait until the motherfucking trial. Y'all see my motherfucking face. I'm exhausted. Can't even get my words out. All over the motherfucking place throughout the video and shit. hopefully y'all picked up some knowledge throughout the video. But this shit is like, man, like, what the fuck, nigga? You 65 years old moving like this. Till next time, y'all subscribe to the second channel. It's called Yo Terrell Reacting Again. Fire ass content being produced over there. You on this point, man. Y'all go subscribe to my third channel, Terrell Be Hotbox, and I'll be doing weed reviews over there. Like I said, I'm taking over with this content shit, man. You know what I'm saying? But y'all stay on y'all P's and Q's, and I love y'all. I'm gonna see y'all in the next one, man. I'm out. Second channel for white with them, my nigga. It's a marathon. Y'all stay on y'all P's and Q's. Don't be out here liking, man. For real.